You ever wanted something so bad, but you start noticing that it never seems to come to your existence? Well, I got a video to teach y'all why that is, right? And we finna dive into this video game. But before we do that, I need every one of y'all to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share this video with your family and friends. And let's go.
And every time I took a breath, this beautiful horizon would just rise up like the fins of a giant stingray swimming under the sea, just in slow motion. As I would take another breath, it would just keep rising and falling. And it was so beautiful. I knew that this was the truth of who I was.
You're being very casual about, I instantly started having transcendental experiences. How long did you stay there?
When I came back down into the room, my life was changed forever.
Dr. Sue Morter is a renowned international speaker, author, master of bioenergetic medicine.
Whatever is stored in subconscious memory is going to be utilized as a checklist to see how safe am I today. If I'm a constant worrier over time, my subconscious thinks I have good reason to worry. The mind is designed to serve something greater than that thing that is greater than itself is the real you. It's the real you, the one that existed before we experienced the story of our lives.
How do we get in touch with the soul?
We're not only connected to God, we're made of it, which is taken to a greater version of who we are versus one who is stuck in fight or flight. What if I didn't have to earn my way into heaven, but what if I was made of it?
Hi, I'm Mayim Bialik.
And I'm Jonathan Cohen.
And welcome to our breakdown. Today is all about energy.
How our thoughts vibrate at a specific frequency. And as we wake up to the true nature of ourselves, we can begin to have a spiritual awakening, find our soul's purpose, and transform our lives.
If you've ever wondered what people are talking about when they talk about energy, or you have blocked energy, or I can see the energy around you, we're going to speak to someone who's going to explain all of it. Dr. Sue Morter is a renowned international speaker, author, master of bioenergetic medicine. Her book, The Energy Codes, is a 7-step system to awaken your spirit, heal your body, and live your best life. But her work is based around the notion that...
Now, look, if this don't resonate with you, you are welcome to leave. You're more than welcome to leave the channel. This is what I love right here. You feel me? I love neurology. I love neuroscience. I love biology. I love electromagnetic fields. I love anything that got something to do with that type of field game, because that's what we are. You understand what I'm saying? We are more than just humans. So let's dive into this video and let's enjoy this. Let's learn some information and pass it along. You understand? Let's go.
There's different energy in our body that we can channel and direct in certain places. And she teaches an entire system of ways to access these different levels of energy, which she believes relate to consciousness and a connection with the larger universe.
She also explains that the stories we tell, our past experiences, the pain that we're holding, which once kept us safe, is actually limiting us. It's preventing our bodies from healing. It's preventing us from finding novel solutions to our problems, from being creative, from thinking outside of the box, and from really being present in our own lives. She describes how our bodies are speaking to us, giving us signals that we're failing to listen to.
Dr. Sue is going to also take us through, I'd say, one of the best spiritual awakening moments I have heard. The way that she describes what happened to her in a deep meditative trance, it's an unbelievable story, and it led her on the course of her life. Her next book coming out March 2026. We're so excited to speak to Dr. Sue Morter. Welcome to the breakdown.
Break it down. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here.
What do you think people should know about the work that you do in terms of the impact it can have on their lives?
One of the things that happens for people in life is that we get caught up in thinking that we are our thoughts and our personalities and our story and our history. And with the work that I do and teaching people how to get underneath the story of their lives and work with the raw energy of flow or no flow.
Hey, you know what's funny? I asked a lot of people out there, man, like, do you think you are your mind? Are you your mind? You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, shit, I am my mind. My mind is me. Like, no, gang. You ain't. You are consciousness, though, but you are not your mind. You know? You got to get out of that mind. Sometimes that mind is the thing that got you into thinking all these crazy thoughts, doing all these crazy things, going through all these crazy events that you're taking yourself through sometimes, right? And I be telling people a lot of times, you know, you unconsciously create negative events and positive events for yourself to witness or go through. And I know it's sometimes it'd be hard for other people to understand that. They be looking at me like, but at the end of the day, you know, if they sit down and they do a little study in themselves, read a couple books. You feel me? Stretch your knowledge. Stretch your knowledge campaign and see what all you know and what all you don't know. Start questioning everything around you and watch. I guarantee you, you will come to this conclusion that I'm, you know, leading you guys up to. You know, throughout every video I give you guys is one of these knowledgeable videos that you guys can sit down and enjoy and love. I can't lie to you, gang. So sit back, enjoy your popcorn, pop your drinks, light your weed up, whatever you got, gang. Enjoy.
What happens is they begin to become empowered and they don't get distracted or dispersed by thoughts and patterns and beliefs that have been stored based on past experience or a fear-based reality that most people are living in. So because everything is energy, what we're doing is learning to work with the energy of our lives instead of the opinions and attitudes and dispositions and premature conclusions that we've drawn. So what happens is a reduction of stress because we begin to recognize different energies as they flow through our body. Instead of calling them anxiety, we understand that it's actually something wanting to ignite and emerge from within. And what happens is people begin to use their mind in a creative manner instead of a protective manner. And that reduces the stress load and increases the energy that is really maintained for creating a better life for ourselves, innovating and really generating the life experience that we'd like to have, rather than just getting better at protecting ourselves from something that someone else is creating.
Maybe we can start with you sort of taking us through this energy, right? Because many people know that they have feelings or they have thoughts, and sometimes they can feel it in their body. But can you give us a little, you know, a little primer into what is this energy? How should we be thinking about it? And in particular, you know, you have this fantastic diagram. You know, these levels of energy that come out from us. Describe how we should be framing that in terms of us being energetic bodies.
Mhm. So the energy.
Yo, before she describe it, how do y'all think y'all should, you know, be framing y'all energy? You know, because I go over this with a lot of people. I'm like, man, everything is energy, gang. Everything is energy. The attitudes, the way people talk to you, the way people look at you, the things you get, the events you go through. Everything in life is energy. But I be wondering, how do people frame that energy? Do they frame it in a positive way or a negative way? Do they frame it in this is happening to me or this is happening for me way? You know, and within that being said, that same way you frame it is very important, because you know that depends on how the outcome is gonna, you know, be a result pop up for you or be a result disaster. At the end of the day, a lot of people don't know how to frame the energy, because yet the way we was taught to frame energy, actually we weren't even taught to frame energy. We was taught to only use our mind to think, you know, and think. And then until we think ourselves in holes, you know, and think ourselves out of houses and homes and out of cars and vehicles and out of great jobs and positions. At the end of the day, you know, you got to learn to feel the energy, you know, in some of these things that you ask nowadays and some of these questions that you are, you know, asking and answers you looking to receive. You got to learn how to feel your way around the world for these answers. And that way you will never be lost. But I'm going to let her explain it, because she can explain it better, gang. We finna dive into it.
The quality of the energy that we're working with is the energy of creation. Truly, it's the energy that is the backdrop for all of life. And that might be a big thing for us to try to wrap our minds around, but this might help. A physical law is that all physical matter is compressed energy. So in order to get a physical body, energy has compressed and compressed and compressed and compressed and compressed, and it generates this physical form that we are living in. But at the end of the day, it's still energy. And so various levels and layers of our being vibrate at different frequencies. As one might imagine, our thoughts vibrate at a different frequency than our bones, right? We can change our thoughts pretty rapidly. It's energy that is very malleable. And when we get more and more dense into the compressions of our physical existence, it becomes, more dense and less and more stable, I should say. And so it's really the energy of creative force, the life force itself, source energy that we're working with. And our thoughts and emotions and our chemistries and our felt sensations in our body are all various, think of it as different radio stations, different vibrational frequency versions of the one true whole self that we are. And so when someone is having feelings, emotions, and they're feeling these ripples or these jolts in the body that we would call anxiousness or nervousness, anxiety, fear. What has happened is we've learned that those energies are what we've named them to be, as if they are bad. The moment that we name it, now there's a story that goes along with that. So if we name it fear, then the mind starts looking immediately for, okay, what am I afraid of? What's wrong with me? What's going on? And it just starts to escalate the mind's activity away from alpha thinking, alpha frequency, which is our true state, into higher and higher, beta, even gamma, in terms of paranoia and filling in the blanks and writing stories all the time. And so what we're doing is recognizing how.
And that's deep too, because your mind is a predictive engine. So like she said, once it starts to correlate those feelings with titles like fear, with titles like anxiety, then will your mind start finding reasons to believe that those are true? You know what I'm saying? Reasons to believe that you are fearful of something, or reasons to believe that you are anxious for something. And that's the trick of the trade. That's the trick of the world that they never taught us in school. You see what I'm saying? They was teaching us the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, but they didn't even teach you that the words are spells, and yet words are spells because they can manipulate your mood in such a way, a matter, and a shape. You know what I'm saying? It can manipulate your mood in such a way, matter, and shape. And if you allow it to, if you don't know how to control your emotions and your mind, your consciousness, then you in trouble. You're in big trouble, brother or sister, whoever you may be. Right?
How to pull people back down out of their head by using their body and their breath to recognize, oh, this is just energy. I don't have to write a story about it. I could just feel it. And if I would feel it, it would start to serve the purpose that it is. And so what happens is we begin to recognize that the energies that we were turning into fear or paranoia or anxiousness actually become passion and the energies of movement and purpose and tenacity, and when they're properly routed. So it's really a matter of integration and understanding a little bit more about what it means when we're feeling these things. So all the while, it's so helpful if we recognize that the system is designed for innovation and creativity and success, and we are completely, constantly supported in the expression and in the experience of those things. And if we're disconnected, we turn it into something entirely different, and we get derailed and start writing stories and then reacting to the stories as if they're true. And the next thing we know, we're creating a reality that is based on a premature conclusion that we drew, that we were unsafe just because we were feeling this shuddering. I often use the example of, just before a little baby chicken egg hatches, a baby chick, it starts to vibrate. And as it vibrates, what then happens next is a little beak pokes right through the shell, and it's birthing himself into another world. And the same thing is true inside of our deep core at the solar plexus level, where our whole mental activity is actually anchored on an energetic level. It starts to shake when actually this part of our personal identity and our personal power is trying to birth into a new situation, a new version of ourselves.
Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, man. Y'all see my Let's Talk Everything Cup gang. Shout out to my wife, you feel me? She do the best every time. I can't even lie to you. She always make sure, she always makes sure I'm flush with the best. At the end of the day, though, this is a great lesson for some of y'all that don't understand your energy or don't even know how to work with it, because at times, you be in situations too. Like some people, they go through situations and trials and tribulations in their life that they don't even allow the energy to work, right? They don't even allow the meditation to work, the positive thinking, the positive affirmations to work. They don't, they just assume the worst all the time. I see it all the time. I see people around me just assume the worst all the time. Yeah. And always assuming the worst ain't always good. You know what I'm saying? That ain't what you want to do. Anytime you assume the worst, gang, right away, what you're doing is you allowing, negative events, and you allowing the worst to take shape in your life. You allowing the worst to take shape in your life and your path. And honestly, that probably wasn't even your path design. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to think about it. A lot of times y'all speak stuff into existence. And in the Bible told you that you can, speak death and life. And I think now that's what's going on, in the world we live in. Literally, people are speaking negative times, negative terms. They speaking, negative affirmations on their life, their family lives, and it ain't cool. I'm just saying. So you got to know how to work with energy. Know how to work with your energy at least. Definitely before you get to trying to work with anybody else's energy around you, gang. You got to learn how to work with your own energy. You understand what I'm saying? Let's
ourselves a new realm of expression. But we start to feel that and we shut it down and we try to move away from whatever's making me feel this. And so we're actually coming right up into a threshold of moving into a new reality. And then just as we're putting our hand on the doorknob and opening it and we feel the turbulence of that transformation, we shut the whole thing down and try to escape, get away from it. Or we become addicted to taking things that cause us to not feel it, all because we have a story written about this feeling that isn't.
That was 555, y'all. I'm showing y'all the number 555. I've been catching these numbers every time. You hear me? I've been catching them angel numbers, the master numbers. I'm talking about every time I'm talking about dude. So, I'm paying attention and my mind is up and my conscious mind is up and my third eye is up. I'm going to let her keep going.
True at all. It's just the story that we've collectively decided to adhere to. And so humanity is in a constant state of anxiousness or fear-based actions, all because of a misinterpretation of the energies that are trying to move through their system, carrying them into higher and higher states of consciousness, states of awareness, states of ability. And so we just recycle in a place of not knowing and not having and wanting and being afraid that we're never going to get it.
Well, people have a very low threshold for feeling anything that's uncomfortable or uncertain.
They do. They have no experience with leaning into it. They have only, mostly experience of avoidance. And so we develop avoidance behaviors.
Or solving it. There are so many tools at our disposal now in modern day society that we can say whatever we're feeling that is uncomfortable at all, I can adjust my state, I can adjust the people around me, I can distract myself, I can shift something so that I don't have to feel like that. Mind Balanced Breakdown is supported by Storyblocks.
Storyblocks is a stock media subscription service offering unlimited access to a ton of incredible assets that you may have seen us use here on Mind Balanced Breakdown during our cold opens. From high quality stock videos and images to music, sound effects, and more. They help creators and businesses enhance their projects without extra costs and more peace of mind. Unlike traditional stock platforms, Storyblocks provides an unlimited model. Humans, no robots, people. That's something that's
Websites your competitors don't want you to know, part 2.
All you do is go to this website and it lets you find out exactly how much your competitors are making.
them in a very detailed, like book summary trying to roll over. I've had my Helix for about 4 years now. I feel like almost 5. We've been sleeping.
We're obsessed with creating coping skills, coping mechanisms, and working with a way to find safety. And I often share with people that safety isn't a good enough goal for you, because if you understood the universe and its workings and its structure and what's actually happening here that even brings you into this body, into this life existence, you would recognize that there is only one thing happening here, and it is that true source energy unfolding, and it isn't here to harm you. It is here to allow you to flourish. And so we've created a realm, a world of duality. We perceive it dualistically. And so inside of any dualistic reality, we have, good stuff and not so good stuff. And so we want to stay away from the not so good stuff and only, move into the good stuff. And all the while we're secretly hoping for unity, but we're constantly, reinventing duality every time that we opt for safety. And so I strongly feel, and have certainly witnessed, people over the last 40 years and working with this, that once we choose that the universe is on my side, that what's unfolding here is in my highest good, if I just stay grounded and allow it to be in service to the unfoldment of the life that I am meant to be living. What happens is people are so used to living in their heads that they depend on their stories or their beliefs or their perspectives to, as you say, to rely upon for a synchronized life or a grounded life or something that keeps me in touch with, am I going to be able to survive? Am I in danger? We rely on the story, which is invented by the mental body.
Hey, and that's true. That's totally true. We do rely on a story that's invented by, I guess, the way we've been living or the way we've been trying to live, and that's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And that's comfortable, but I'm gonna tell you something, living comfortable don't get you to a higher state of being. It don't. It never. You know what I'm saying? So if you really want to flourish and live to your highest potential and your highest self, then you just gotta let go and just let live. You know what I'm saying? Let go and let live. Let go and let live, because you will never reach your highest pinnacle if you're trying to control and narrate the way that goes. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to control and narrate the way that your life path supposed to go, you'll never reach your highest pinnacle. You'll never reach your highest state. You'll always be second guessing yourself. You will always be taking a scarcity path and roads and back roads. You'll always be, doubting yourself every time it comes to you achieving or, like succeeding in something that's out of your range or out of your reach. You'll always feel unworthy of that. And that'll be, a scary sight. Now, me personally, before I let it be a scary sight, I'm going to go ahead and embody everything that these people telling you, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's the only thing you should be doing. Embodying all the knowledge that these people giving you, because these are people who are studying the mind. These are people who are studying feelings, emotions. They studying how to channel these things. They studying chakras and energies. These would be the only people that I have on my list of YouTubers to watch if I was you. I wouldn't know. Simple. And as y'all can tell, I got them on my list, right? As y'all can tell, every time I come to y'all with a video, it's a Mayan Bialik and Jonathan Cohen video. I'm not gonna lie to you, gang. Shout out to them. I love their podcast. I love what they do. They one of the greatest on YouTube. I can't lie to you. So let's keep going, man.
Body, which is not in the physical body per se. We know that consciousness is actually outside of our physical form, and it is anchored in various areas, in various ways, inside of our physical form. But the point is, the ultimate, I feel, for us to do is to no longer be dependent on those beliefs for a sense of self and a sense of okayness and a sense therefore of opportunity and creativity and innovation and generating a life that I truly do want. And so rather than holding on to our stories, what I'm teaching people to do is let go of the story and allow myself to be anchored to the body instead of anchored to the story. Because the story is a little more dense than just being present and available and creative. And so we tell ourselves something over and over, and it begins to create some density in the field around the physical body, and it gives a false sense of stability, this story. And holding on to it is what we do to be able to maintain an existence here and to be functional and to get up and do our things and have any kind of vital force at all behind the decisions that we make and the life that we're trying to live. And so the idea of letting go of my story would send someone into, way too much expansion, and no one feels comfortable doing that until they realize there's something else I could be anchored to, that I wouldn't have to hold on to my stories and my beliefs if I was anchored to something else that was equally or by far even greater, amount of stability. And so that's what I'm showing people how to, is if you anchor your consciousness in the core of your body and you start to really allow these little packets of energy called photons are what consciousness is as it's solidifying into physical matter, we gather those photons at a deeper level of our being. Instead of them just gathering to the field, they're gathering to an anchor spot, an anchor point, if you will, at the deep central channel, the core channel of our body. And once we start to realize how energy goes, how it originates, and how it expresses here in the physical dimension, we come upon what is called a field shape that has a central channel down the middle of it, which is something that ancient cultures referred to as the Sushumna in ancient India, and in ancient, even prior to that, this river of life. And so what we're doing is starting to get in touch with this true state that is solid and is present and is timeless and has always been and will always be. And the more we attune to that radio station, the more we start to allow it to be enlivened. And the more enlivened is, the less activity the thinking, analyzing mind has to engage in order to generate this sense of well-being, or what we would have called safety. And so as we drop in to this space, we begin to be able to sustain a state of well-being long enough that we can actually change the frequency that we're attuned to, that we have an affinity to, as far as the various radio stations that are available to us to dial into. It starts to make more sense to trust. It starts to make more sense to be beginning to think about, who would I be if I wasn't afraid? Who would I be if I was safe and that safety was never going away? Then what would I do with my mind? Then what would I be thinking about and dreaming up and taking action toward? Because once we start to orient into that version of ourselves, we start to heal on every level, because we're not jumping into fight or flight and dysregulating the nervous system and constantly changing the chemistries of our body that make us then relate to the story of, see, I knew I wasn't safe. I knew it was going to go this way. And proving and reproving constantly our fears.
Just how prevalent is it in people's lives that they're just caught in the cycle of, I knew this was going to go wrong, therefore, and here it is, look, I've proven it to myself, these self-fulfilling prophecies and this dysregulation of their bodies. People, more so than ever, are spending an enormous amount of time online. We're consuming an enormous amount of digital content. We're riding the wave of what each of those videos show us, as well as interacting with some people's lives, miscommunication on text, however it may be. And we just assume that the physical sensations we're having and the experience that we're having in our physical body is just normal, right? But you're presenting another way of being that, for some, it may feel like almost unachievable, because they're like, oh, I have to remove myself from society in order to not carry the waves of those inputs that are affecting me. So I'm hoping you can just frame how normal it is to basically have our systems taxed in a way that we're not realizing.
Summer's here, and right now get 0% financing for 5 years on all 2026 Silverado 1500 models, with no payments for 90 days.
Parenting these days is overwhelming.
Hey, do either of you know my son? He forgot his lunch.
Really? teenagers, kids, career, former co-stars who text all the time.
Oh, that would be me.
Ty, we are literally sitting next to each other.
Julie and I are both real life parents of teens, so yeah, I do reach out now and then.
Every day?
Maybe every day with questions.
Really important ones, like what is aura and do I have it?
Or why does my daughter keep calling me bruh?
But when Ty texted me, and I quote, "Is meningitis a city in Greece?" I thought this was something we should take seriously because honestly, I wasn't 100% sure what meningitis was either.
See?
But I think it's something teens can be vaccinated for.
Oh, well, if there's vaccines for it, I know my kids are vaccinated. I'm certain. I'm fairly certain. I think they are. I'm going to text my real wife.
So I called my friend, Dr. Rebecca Hall. She offered to jump on a call with me and Ty.
Ooh, look, it's a raccoon filter.
But
So the subconscious's job is to protect us. And so whatever is stored in subconscious memory is going to be utilized sort of as a checklist to see how safe am I today. So if I have information stored at the subconscious level.
Apologize about that agony. But everything they saying, man, I hope it resonate with a lot of y'all, gang. Because like I said, the reason everything you want, you know, and I'm gonna make this match up together. The reason everything you want is not coming to you in your lifetime at this moment is because when you say, I want this, in your mind, in your body, in your heart, when you say, I need this, I don't have this, do you know technically what you're doing? You're telling the universe, you're telling your creator that you don't got, you don't have, you lack. And the reason that we are all born with abundance and that we are all, you know, full of everything we ever wanted and needed is already within us. All you got to do is believe. The reason that don't work for you is because some of you guys and women out there don't believe. You know, you don't believe that what you want already exists, and that's the problem, right? See, when you go to your creator and you ask for something, you ask him with the heart and the emotions of lack, as if you are already not blessed with everything under the sun. With everything under the sun. And that's the code. That's the secret, man. Look, at the end of the day, man, I gotta go eat my food, man. I love y'all. Y'all make sure y'all take care of yourself.